Using trash for me is access to free material and giving worth to unwanted things. By doing workshops, I inspire adults or kids to reuse what is not and buy only necessary things. In this video, I'm showing you how only with plastic bottles and a few other materials you can already make a lot of instruments.
Okay, thank you very much, Kan. So Kan will join us in one of the breakout sessions where we're going to deal with waste. So if you have any questions later for Kan, you can ask him during the breakout session. Okay, so let's continue. So if we go one slide back, we were talking about these loops here, and we mentioned here as close as you are to the center, you would want to you are better placed and you are supporting more the circular principle. Yeah, if you can share or reuse. Okay. Now let's build a bit on top of that now. So it's no surprise that many of the most successful examples of circular design are those that prioritizes in a loop. So recycling is of course one option there for us to support the circular economy, but we should be thinking about repairing or remanufacturing or reusing products as much as possible. And we'll be seeing later when we talk about business models later, where we can actually create business models that facilitate to share materials. So this is an opportunity for SMEs and merchants to set up enterprises which actually facilitate the sharing of products. Yeah, if a customer, let's say, doesn't need the product, it's not very easy for that customer to just go out and try to find people who need it. So maybe we need some NGOs or some enterprises that does that. So it's already, if you want, a business opportunity that's coming up here. Yeah. So at this point, I'm going to invite Priya to share her organization, the Emilioa Collective, which is going to sort of focus on this remanufacturing and reuse of products. Yeah. Priya.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, so Emilioa, if you know about us, basically we are a social creative enterprise, and we create a platform for artists, artisans, creatives, entrepreneurs. We also support a lot of community and social projects, as well as NGOs, initiatives, and charities. So one of the projects that we've set up is called 3030. I set this up to honor my friend who sadly passed away, best friend who sadly passed away with cancer. And the structure of it is a craft employability scheme, and whereby we support disadvantaged individuals, particularly women, who lack skill set and basically need or seek flexible employment. But one of the main criteria of 3030 is producing and creating sustainable products. So one of the test theories we did, and you'll see some photos that will follow shortly, was we've done prototypes of working with tires. So if you are in and around the island, you'll see a lot of discarded tires. Not only are they a wasteful factor, but also they're actually breeding grounds for mosquitoes. So there's a sanitary issue involved in that as well. And so what we've done with the tires is we've created shoe soles, which will follow up.
Yep, sorry.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so basically, and so we've got the tire soles, and what we've used is the inner layers of the tires, as well as the tread of the tires, depending on what production and make the tires are. But the whole entire process has been able to help support small local businesses, independent traders, small repair tire services. And what they do is they offload their waste to us, and all the items and all the tires we collect, we then supply to them, that they disassemble and choose and basically take the items that are more resourceful to them. So basically, in kind of echoing the circular economy sort of formula, so to speak, we're now being able to maximize renewable waste, which is basically working with factories and production outlets to reuse their waste. We're also creating, and in this aspect, we're creating shoes from reclaimed and sustainable material. And on a social creative community aspect, we are also, I've seen the sign saying love for shoes. We're also creating work, we're empowering communities and upholding traditional craft. But just to, because I know in the beginning of the session, I had a lot of designers and talking about how they, especially with the lockdown, a lot of the surplus and leftover stocks that they have. One of the elements of 3030 is being able to encourage and educate and be a platform for these designers for us to work together. And Mel's a fine example, who will be following up in the presentation, in regards of us working one-on-one with designers to create sustainable products. So yeah, stay tuned and join us in one of our breakaway sessions.
Okay, thank you, Priya. Yep. So okay. So as I thought, maybe some of you joined a bit later. So I mentioned we're having some breakout sessions at some point during the presentation. So make sure you let us know in which breakout session you want to be. So in the chat, just send us your name, your email, and the breakout room you want to be in. If you just scroll up the chat, you're going to find actually the 4 breakout sessions and the resource persons that's attached to each breakout session. Yep. So make sure you do that. I can see we are 24, 25, so we can create nice breakout rooms. Yep. Okay, so let's continue. So this was the first strategy we've talked about here. Again, just to more recap, we've talked about design for inner loops, which comes from this diagram here. So we want to be as close as possible to the center. Now, the second strategy, which is useful for circular design, is moving from products to services. So is ownership really necessary? Yep, so this is what we have to ask ourselves. Do we need to actually produce a product that is sold to customers, or can we offer a service? Now, there's one example which you see a lot in literature on circular design, is a company Philips not selling lights to any company, typically to airports. They actually send lighting itself. So they actually keep ownership of the products because they're experts in lights. They don't sell the lights, they sell lighting. So they maintain the products. They are the one who take care of it. They know how to recycle it, and they make best use of it. And since they are the owners, they would make sure they have the best products there in place. So this is one very interesting strategy we can think about in Mauritius, is how can we create enterprises that offer services for leasing, for hiring of products to people instead of just selling. Yeah. Okay, so a host of new businesses built on this notion have already emerged in recent years, offering all manners of products to customers on short-term basis, rather than selling it to them. Yep. So we have Diane who's going to present some case studies. So Diane is from the Good Shop. No, sorry, Diane is from the Fashion Revolution. Sorry. So she's going to talk a bit about the Fashion Revolution week as well, which is currently going on, and then talk a bit on the on this strategy for circular design, means moving from products to services. Jan?
Jan, you're on mute. Getting used to. Hello, everyone.
That's fine. That's not the problem. Yeah.
So basically, Fashion Revolution is the largest fashion activism movement around the world. We were founded in 2015, and since then we are campaigning for a cleaner, greener, safer, more transparent, and accountable fashion industry. We conduct resources, education, collaboration. We do collaboration, mobilization, a lot of activities, and we invite all the different actors of the fashion supply chain to join forces to move towards a more circular fashion industry. So basically this week, ending tomorrow, was the Fashion Revolution Week, where we raise awareness on several aspects of the fashion industry, about the social impacts and also on the environmental impacts. And today I wanted to talk about a new way of doing business and how brands, retailers can actually create a new revenue stream using waste, which is rental or subscriptions model. So you can see on the PowerPoint now, which is Rent the Runway, an American company which lets you rent clothing, and so you pay monthly memberships, and you can get either free or 8 items or unlimited items. And I think this could work in Mauritius because we are a tiny island. People don't want to be seen in the same outfit twice. We all have a lot of weddings, families, parties, and everything. And especially the millennials nowadays, they don't want to, they like take a lot of pictures of themselves. It's a very social world we live in now. So it's important for people not to be seen twice in the same outfit. So I think this could be a very interesting model for brand and retailers to maybe target a new niche, a niche that they didn't target by selling their product, and they can maybe rent the unsold inventory or clothing that can interest a new niche, and like that create a monthly revenue stream for them and answer the waste problem where we all have a lot of clothes that we don't wear.
Okay, thank you very much, Diane. Okay, I remind you that we'll be having breakout sessions later. I've seen in the list we currently have only 8 persons who have notified us in which breakout rooms they would want to be. So I encourage you to do that now by sending your preference in the chat. So just give us your name, your email, and the breakout room you want to be. Okay, so let's continue. So the first strategy which we've seen many circular design projects taking is product life extension. So it's very well aligned to one of the core principles of circular economy, like we said, to keep materials more and more the most possible, if you want, in the loop, means people to use it as much as possible. So this may involve designing products to be both physically and emotionally durable, or it may require innovative approaches allow the product to adapt to users' changing needs as time passes. So we're going to look at this adaptation in another strategy later. Now we find here both physically and emotionally durable. So physically in terms of durability of the fabric itself, if you're talking of clothes. Emotionally durable means people attach importance to the fabric and they would want to keep it as much as possible. So we have a whole new concept coming up called material narratives. So it's like just we give meaning to relationships with people. Now we're giving meaning to materials. So the cloth you have or any object you have, if you're emotionally attached to it, most likely you're going to want to keep it more and more. So it's about creating this material narrative to encourage people to use the product as much as possible. Yeah. Okay. So this is clear here. Products that resist damage, or where this is a physical side I was saying, and retain the emotional appeal over time would definitely be better here. So we have the, if you've heard of the kintsugi there, the Japanese art, where if you have anything which is broken, so they don't just throw it away, they actually amend it, and through different methods, which even use gold. And at the end, you have a product which is even more valuable. So if you want, you can read on that, the kintsugi art, which come from Japan. You have other similar methods which you can use to repair any damaged product. So it's not like when something is broken, it has to be thrown away and it becomes waste immediately. The next strategy that we've seen in projects is safe and circular material choices. Okay, so this one is showing to is asking us to make the proper choice for materials themselves. So definitely there are some materials which would not even fit in the circular economy, and here we're talking about environmental index of materials themselves. So people in creatives, in the creative sector, fashion and design would know based on the way products are manufactured, which products are more environmental friendly, they don't involve use of chemicals, for example, or the way they're produced. For example, if we can, Mauritius is not a huge resource for raw materials, but if we could actually use resource materials which are produced in Mauritius, so we don't need to transport the fabric from outside, that would of course help in this. So we are not having any embodied energy that we call for these materials. But here we're talking about material choices which actually are environmental friendly. So in the production, they don't entail a sort of negative environmental impact. Okay, so by choosing materials that are safe and circular, you can build a better offering for your users. We know now the customer base. If you have the proper story, people are very keen now to go up for eco-friendly products. So that's already one factor which customers lend importance to when they are buying products. So if you can make a proper story and showcase how your material is supporting the circular design or sustainable development, and if they have to make a choice, if you make your story well, even if it's a bit more costly, maybe not necessarily the case always, it actually I think it can work on the market. So to show us some examples of safe and circular material choices, I would now like to invite Melissa to talk a bit on natural dyes and by design in the creative sector. Melissa?
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Hi everyone. So well, the key principle of this approach is to design out waste. And well, one of the materials you can use to do that are, for example, the leftovers coming from the food you already bought. Yeah, basically like kitchen waste. It can be avocado skins, pomegranate greens, black beans, carrot top, beetroot top. Well, anything that was that you meant to throw. Here's on the next slide, I mean,
okay,
you can
next
see.
slide. Sorry. Yeah, I just have change the slide. Yeah, sorry. This one. Yeah.
Yeah. So on the next slide, for example, you can see what I did with onion skins. So creating natural dyes with kitchen waste.
Great.
Yeah, here are a few simple. It's a fun process. Yeah, so give it a try.
Okay, thank you very much, Melissa. Related to Melissa's work, I just want to show you, when I was in London, actually, I got a chance to visit the Open Cell, which is something called a makerspace. It's an environment where you can actually test biodesign. So I'm just going to show you the link for that, the website for it. You can just refer to it afterwards. Yep, so this one here, it's the Open Cell in London. So when we were in the workshop, you can see here actually in the background, the actual setup, which are containers. Actually, the containers, how we're using Mauritius here. So they are obsolete containers. So these people have used it to create labs where they can actually carry out biodesign experiments. You can get more information on that and type of products they are creating. For example, I got the opportunity to do this one here where they're creating vases from coffee mugs. So they use mycelium, which is bacteria. And this one, they are dyeing textile with bacteria as well. So very interesting applications if you are interested in biodesign in the creative sector. This is a very interesting website to go to, or if ever you're visiting London, this is in the very center of London. It's very interesting. Another resource I got the opportunity to, how to refer this. Another very important resource which you can benefit from is Materium. So I hope you can see that. The Materium, the nature's recipe book. So just like if you're cooking anything, if you're cooking any recipe, you typically would get the recipe how to do it. So what is the Materium initiative? It's actually creating material recipes. So you have lots of, if you go to Materials library here, you click on that, you get lots of ready-made recipes and open source. You don't need to pay for anything. It shows you how do you create circular materials using waste. Of course, you have to do some processing out of it, but there's loads of resources available here where you can create maybe materials from valuable materials from waste. So very interesting resource here. This is actually an open source environment where you can get these recipes. And actually we got opportunity when we were in London to actually test some of these. I want to actually carry out a workshop in the future when the lockdown is taken off to actually do hands-on workshop where people can test some of these recipes. But it's a very interesting resource, and you can, of course, if you have your own recipes, you can share it with Materium, and you can, of course, learn from them. So very interesting resources here, OpenCell and the Materium, which is related to what Melissa was speaking. Okay, now we move ahead. The next strategy, the fifth one, is called dematerialization. So this is basically saying, can you reduce the resource requirements? Yep, so dematerialization, the fifth strategy here. So this one is saying to find solutions where we can actually reduce or even not use any material at all. So you have maybe heard of services like Netflix now, which is very common for digital media, for videos. And Spotify is similar for music, for digital music. So these two, if you want, have rightly or wrongly, I can't comment on that, have sort of done away with use of materials for films, for movies, and for music. So these are sort of extreme where you could use digital technologies to offer services. But in a way, if that's not always possible, try to think how you could use minimal product in your own designs. Okay. Okay, so to talk a bit on the possibilities that we have to apply dematerialization in the creative sector. So Diane has some examples to show us where we can use 3D graphics and virtual reality to sort of prevent too much testing and prototyping. Yep, so I invite Diane to share this case.
Yes, dematerialization is very interesting, especially in this context. With the lockdown, the whole fashion industry is rethinking how we produce, use, and discard our clothes. Some of the top brands are talking maybe about to cancel fashion weeks and to completely digitalize them because they are creating a huge impact on the environment, to like fly everyone to some cities and like all the waste it creates in terms of collections, catwalks, and everything. So today I just wanted to show you two ways how the digital world is coming into the fashion industry. So nowadays we can see more and more digital models appearing. The one that you see here is Sudu, which is the world's first digital supermodel. She has around 200,000 followers on Instagram, and every part of her face, body, and image has been created using 3D design technology. She has been in magazine, in like huge campaigns around the world, and this could help prevent waste and like environmental impact. Moreover, we can see more and more clothing. No, okay, I'm going to start again. We can see that the digital world is also going into clothing. Can you put next, please?
Yeah. You had something else after this? Actually, I don't have anything else after this.
Yeah. Go back.
Yeah.
There is a link next to the picture.
Okay, so you want me to open the link? Yeah. I will share that.
Whatever. It was one company named Clo, which is a platform turning clothing digital. They are specialized in true life 3D garment simulation, where their technologies allows designers and fashion students to realize their vision without the waste of samples. So basically, you can create your collection digitally. without the need to create samples, because nowadays samples are a huge amount of weight. And because virtual clothing has become hyper realistic, they can replace physical garment, and therefore we invite designers or fashion students to use those kind of platform to draft their collection, and once they are happy with the final result, they can try to do the sample, but it minimizes the amount of sample needed, and it's also super cost effective.
Okay.
A lot of big brands are using it as Balmain. I don't know if you know it. They are using digital models and digital clothing too.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jan. Okay, we shift now to the sixth strategy. Yep, which is about modularity. Yep. So just to do a small recap, we are looking at strategies that can help us to apply circular design principles. We've seen there are three main pillars, if you want, of circular design. They are not prescriptive, but what you're seeing now are what measures or principles have people applied in circular design projects and that have worked well. So the sixth one is modularity. So if you can design your product to be modular, you can very easily go for upgrading it and easy repair. That's the strategy we're saying here. So modular design is a useful strategy for making products easier to repair, remanufacture, and upgrade. So by making it easy to remove only a part of a product, so you can make it easier to disassemble, lowering the cost and effort to swap out components when they're damaged. One example that comes there is the mobile phone. If your screen is damaged, you can easily repair it and not just have to buy a new phone. Remember earlier we mentioned about the ability to adapt your product over time, so a user can adapt the product over time to his or her own needs. This is one, if you want synergy between these two strategies here, where if you design your product to be modular, means over time the user can upgrade it very easily and doesn't need to buy a new one. Yep. So again, we have Diane to share with us how can this modularity be applied in the creative sector. Yep.
Yeah. We have to think product. We have to start building a real relationship with our product and think long term, like it's like a friend or a partner. We don't want it to be short term. So we want to design our product in a way that it is easily disassemblable and assemblable. There are different ways to design approach. For example, for clothing, to enable designers and then consumers to recycle their product easier. For example, this one, we're going to show the video just afterwards.
Yeah.
It's a startup named Resortech. I met them in Hong Kong, and what they do, they have created a machine that enable disassembly easily. For example, zippers and buttons make garment recycling and reuse complicated, as the removal of such details cause a lot of manual assistance. It's making the process both more costly and time consuming. So they have solved this problem by creating a thread that simply dissolves at high temperature and can be used in existing machine. Can you put please the video?
Yeah, I'll play it now. Yeah.
We are all getting better at recycling our old clothes, but the process requires a lot of manual work. Smart Stitch works as a regular thread. It keeps clothes together and details in place. But what's different about it is that this thread dissolves at a high temperature. As a result, zippers and buttons are easily removed with the help of heat, which simplifies recycling. When used for regular seams, the whole piece of clothing can also be taken apart so that the fabric can be used over and over in new ways, cutting the need to produce fabric from scratch. Stitch by stitch, this innovation brings new life to old garments.
Great. Okay, thank you very much, Diane. Okay, so very nice example here how we can achieve modularity here in the apparel industry.